This episode is quite different from the previous episodes that we've been doing with Dr. Emerson. This episode, we're going to talk a little bit about mental health, and the title, I'm sure it caught your attention. It's Secrets Revealed, the secret of happiness. Some people say, well, you can never be fully happy. Or, we're going to talk about joy as well. Is it joy the same of happiness, or there's slight difference between them? And what is the relation between happiness or joy and health? If I'm happy, can I live longer? Is that will affect my health or not? In fact, this topic has been or has become really popular, I think, throughout this decade, because there is, I'm sure you've probably heard about it, but you can read that we have not had as much as depression diagnosed as we are having this generation. There has not been in any time in history. I mean, some can argue that, well, now we have more modern ways to measure that, but people are just going through anxiety and depression all the time. And even before we start, I'd like to mention that before I came here to work with Heartland, I was working in the funeral industry, and we were working with a psychologist with people with grief. So I could tell, when they're grieving, that is really hard. It's almost like their life is over.
Yeah.
So no good. Well, let's get into this. Let's get into the topic. Once again, welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you.
Yvonne Restrepo is here with us tonight. And what would you like to tell us so we can introduce this topic of happiness, joy, and health?
Well, we need to go back to the basics of how to live. It's that simple. Because in this society, the joy of just taking time to speak, taking time to be able to share your feelings, take the time to share a meal, take the time to play with your kids, take the time to do the good old things. It's almost kind of the lost art of living that we need to bring about. So today, in today's program, we will be speaking about how is our brain made and how can we help. The structure of the brain is there to experience joy and happiness even in the midst of difficulties. So it's kind of unpacked. What is there in our brains? Is there something can help us there, regardless of the circumstances? And then talking about attitude, but not only what's in the mind, what you can do with the body. We can do so many things with our body for free that we can increase, and actually we can cultivate a character quality that will have to be actually joy. So we are going to be speaking about these things.
Yeah, and to start off, we were talking about happiness and joy, and some people might get confused when it comes to this two words. Happiness, sometimes they can think of, oh, I'm really happy today, it's my birthday, or they graduated, so that they gave them a lot of happiness. Wow. But is that constantly a state of happiness, or could we say that joy is more like the state of being? How do we differentiate, or what's the main difference between happiness and joy?
Yes, happiness would be more a pleasurable feeling coming out of a situation, an event, something that happens that makes you feel good. So you go a lot with the feeling.
Okay.
So that's why keep on a good amount of happiness would require a good amount of feelings working on. The difference between happiness and joy is actually that joy is more of a state of the mind, and I would like to say joy would be a character quality that regardless what's going on around you, you have either joy, but at the same or at least peace. You see?
At least peace.
At least peace. Regardless what's going on around me, I have developed and coming to like part of my character. How do I react? How do I speak? Can I speak with peace and have a sense of wellness that could be I really like the word, and here, Klinger, we can speak about the word shalom. The shalom means that peace, that joy, that is not the ecstasies of feelings. It's a state of the mind and a character. It's like a growing process when you are there and you know how to face difficult circumstances. So the difference basically is happiness is more the feelings. Something happened and makes me happy. I see some spaghettis and I go like, great, this lunch is gonna be good. But the joy is the state of a mind, more like a character quality.
Interesting. Yeah, and we all know that feelings fluctuate. I mean, they're not. You can't be always, maintaining the feelings that you desire. Sometimes you're angry,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes something just makes you sad. But despite of that, you can still have a good attitude towards it, right?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
and that will give you the sense of joy, regardless what happens.
And that's really important to speak today, because if we don't see the difference, then we will be looking for happiness all the time. And that's very expensive
Yes,
for the
yes,
body and for the
yes.
mind to keep that ecstasy. And that's the reason why there are many young people that believes that the most important thing in life is happiness. So I need to be in this ecstasies. And whatever takes me to that condition, it could be overeating or even substances that make me feel good about myself. Ooh, that you get into the dangerous area. But
Right.
if we understand that joy is a character quality, is a fruit of the spirit, is something you grow, is something you are regardless of the circumstances, there is the difference that you can be with such a joyful, peaceful spirit, and still maybe you're not smiling, but in
Right.
the heart you are. You
That's
see?
great.
So it's two different things.
I'm excited to explore this tonight, really.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is really good. Now, talking about joy, feeling good, that has something to do with neurotransmitters, right? The brain, I know we were, made to have those feelings,
Yeah.
and let's explore a little bit of those neurotransmitters, shall we?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So the question here would be, can we keep a state of being joyful all the time?
Okay, that's a good question, because I get calls sometimes with people really sad and they cry over the phone because of their current situation, and it's understandable. But could we tell them that is going, because maybe I'm not going through what they're going through,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they might say, well, it's easy for you to say, you're not suffering, you're not diagnosed with cancer, or it's easy for you to say, but is it really? I mean, let's explore that.
Let's unpack that. Because when we see what the Bible says, rejoice,
Mm,
right?
right.
In different verses, kind of rejoice at all times, regardless of the circumstances, just rejoice. And we can read those Bible verses whenever, like, let's suppose now we're talking about, you mentioned the cancer case. And a Christian person might think, how can this Bible verse be true to me?
Right.
Or I'm experiencing some loss now. It's like mocking.
Mm.
When you want to grieve, when you want to cry, what that the rejoice means. So again, if we confuse it with the term happiness, we're going to be really confused, because the feelings are not apt to, when you're experiencing a loss, to be
Right.
happy.
Right.
But the Bible is talking about rejoice. It's talking about joy. It's talking about a character quality that will help us. So when we talk about this, what's our brain? If the principle says, if the Bible says it's possible that at all times you can rejoice, and you can even rejoice more when circumstances comes. What a challenge. Do we have an instruction in our brain to respond to that reality that the Bible says? Yes, absolutely. And here is when we talk about the neurotransmitters. So the brain is one of the most perfect organs, the whole body, but the brain is unique because the brain was made to live forever, for eternity.
Wow.
So, yes, we are living in a world of sadness and suffering and sin, but still we can see the structure that the brain was made to live forever, and then to help you have this peace attitude constantly, as the Bible verse says. But if we don't know it, if we don't know, how can we help our body, of our brain? We are not cooperating with it. And then our
Right.
attitude would go against. And then we see the principle rejoice, but we don't know how to make it. So today we want to make it simple. And we are going to be speaking about 4 neurotransmitters that they have this such a job, such a job in our bodies to
Awesome.
help us be um, positive, faithful, with this peace. So there is a chemical balance process due to dopamine, serotonin,
Mm-hmm.
oxytocin, and endorphins. These four neurotransmitters are doing amazing things in our body to help us keep up. But we need to work with them
Mm,
because our
absolutely.
attitude will either help them be increased or decreased in our bodies. So that's
Right.
why we want to talk about these things tonight.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and my fingers is like really itching here to go to to go to the practical and talk about, but I know we're going to explain each one of them and what are they for, and
Yes.
and
Yeah.
briefly, and yeah, this is really cool. I I I know that this topics there's quite a few I won't s not famous. There is famous people talking about that, but there is one author. He's more towards corporations and business, and he's really big on leadership and talking. And there's one chapter on his book. He talks about all those four in the workplace,
Mm.
and it's really important because it's where we spend most of the time in our lives.
Yeah.
It's working,
Yeah.
and then second is sleeping. But and in the workplace, we can have a villain over there, which is the villain for all of those four chemicals you said, which is cortisol, right?
Oh, yes.
That's the villain, and
Yes.
but there is a way to actually prevent that with
Hmm.
those if we know
Yes.
how to use them, because
Absolutely.
cortisol is what really giving people stress and all of those bad feelings, and then are killing them. They're getting diseases based upon that, and dying literally. So I'm really glad that we're focusing on that tonight.
And I'm really glad that you're mentioning that. We don't want to focus here tonight in giving an explanation about the cortisol because many of us live with it every day. If you feel this tension here, if you have to do this when you're sitting down, if you feel the inflammation, digestive system every time you're stressed, if there is this sweating process, inflammation process, this and now I got the word, the different systems that get attacked by cortisol is a lot. But today we really want to talk about these four agents that will help you handle that cortisol. That's what we
Yeah.
want to focus on.
Some people call them happy hormones.
Yes, the happy
Yeah,
hormones,
happy
the
hormones.
wellness hormones, the happy hormones. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into them.
All right. Let's begin by the dopamine.
Dopamine. Okay, so how do we get dopamine, and what is it for?
Mm-hmm.
And the danger of dopamine too,
And the danger of dopamine.
because we can have, yeah.
Why is that danger? Because it's the reward system.
Okay.
Every time you like something, the brain is so amazing that the brain is recording everything you like. So when the brain is recording everything you like because the senses are telling you smells good, tastes good, makes you feel good, then the brain record the experience as so important that they want you to have it again.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and the mirror neurons are involved. So the brain is recording everything you like. You cannot fool your brain.
Wow.
You might be sitting in church for years, not enjoying the experience.
Wow.
Kids not enjoying the experience. The brain is not recording that. Whenever you have the chance to stop, actually that experience, it will happen. But the brain is recording those things that you enjoy inside. Can you
Wow.
imagine,
That
good or
is pretty
bad?
powerful.
It's
Wow.
powerful for good or for bad.
Wow.
So actually the dopamine here is the reward system. So everything will give us going shopping. When you go shopping, oh, I found this is so good. I bought this for myself. You feel this good thing. If it's too much and you rely on doing that to feel good, what could happen with the reward system?
Oh yeah, you're gonna become like a addicted on shopping. Like just
Or ice cream.
or anything.
or
Yeah, that's true.
food,
Food.
you see, or sex. That's
Yeah.
some that it's also helps produce dopamine. So anything that the brain records like this is an amazing experience, the reward system is saying yes, the dopamine increases and you feel good, but then you want more of it. So
Right.
it's excellent, but the decisions we made and how can we rely on just to have them the good pleasure of dopamine will take us probably to addictions, and cigarettes, coffee creates a lot of addictions, some teas,
Wow.
or actually substances, like
Wow.
all kind of things that we see today.
Yeah, I know one way to get dopamine, which is in the corporate business environment, we know it's a checklist. When you fulfill a task
Mm-hmm.
and you check, that's like a little hit of dopamine. Like getting goals, accomplishing things, like you're getting near to the goal, it's a little bit of dopamine, and then you move towards the goal, a little bit more of dopamine, and then when you really finish the goal, like it's like that really nice hit of dopamine. So having goals and striving to attain to achieve them, it's also a really good thing for
So the reward system is good. Everything was created for good.
exactly.
So when we record the experience, when we want to have it again, when you feel about that, good about that, the dopamine is increased and you're going to feel like it's worth living.
Right.
I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it. The thing and the dark side is, again, when you rely on that to repeat, and I want it again, and you focus that somehow the happiness, I will go there because I find happiness. And then
Right.
it increases, and the reward system tells you more and more, even with good things like we mentioned before. So, but how can we work in the good side of the dopamine to help us release, the kind of the good experience and the pleasure experience that we need,
How?
and some other situations like depression and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
When a person is depressed or with anxiety, the reward system is down, the cortisol is up, and some others neurotransmitters, and then the person not even eating a good
Not
meal,
motivated to do anything. Yeah.
pleasure,
Mm.
things that they used to
Find
do before that
yeah.
fine joy, they don't want to do it anymore.
Mm.
So how can we help them increase with natural things? Because, and actually, Klinger, the information that we are sharing today, and I would like to tell our audience that look in Harvard Medical School. They are
Okay.
having amazing information, written in and released, like in coaching tips, so people can read it and immediately apply. It's not these scientific
Right. Right.
articles that you don't understand. No, it's
Right.
very easy reading.
I was going through them. Very easy.
So
Very
pretty
practical.
much what we are sharing today is based on the discoveries of Harvard University, Harvard Medical School. So when we talk about dopamine, which things increase the dopamine? And here, let us talk about food.
Mm-hmm.
Food. How come food?
Absolutely.
So the dopamine, basically, it's is a process by a amino acid called the tyrosine. Tyrosine. I know in Spanish is tiroxina, right? So when we
Tyrosine.
tyrosine, when we have food like avocados, bananas, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Avocados, bananas, pumpkin, sesame seeds, and in general the seeds and soy. When we have this food, the body will produce this tyrosine that is so needed, and out of that tyrosine is produced then, and it's a whole chemical product, L-dopa, that finally it will be synthesized of dopamine. So having these foods will help a person who has kind of lost interest in things and enjoy and the reward. And even if you don't, but if you want to increase in a natural way, and again, this is Harvard University telling us bananas, avocados, then the nuts, then the seeds, then the green, some of the green leaves like spinach is really good. If we would have this diet instead of processed food, how
Right.
can we help the body then produce the dopamine that we need? So we are helping in that sense with this type of foods.
Right. Yeah, I remember watching. There's one Brazilian. Um, he's he's a scientist in food with food. I don't remember his title, but he was going to even TV show, several TV shows in Brazil, and he was presenting the worst food in the world, and he had it on the table on the this talk shows and everywhere, like a few foods on the table that he would just categorize as the worst food in the world that cause cancer and all that stuff, and then the best food in the world. And there's one he would say like the green. I don't know how do you how would you call it in English? I should have actually looked, but they call it like the green banana that they actually get powder of. I'm sure that you'll find it somewhere because
Plantain.
it's
You're
become
talking
very
about plantain?
probably, but it's like green,
Uh-huh.
and then he even teaches how to make it. He says it's one of the most powerful things to get you out of depression because it has like some um, food and tryptophan. I think
Yes.
tryptophan or something like that. He says is really good to help your get rid of
Yes.
all that depression. And so on the description of this video, I might look into that and put over there. So if you want to look, if you're watching this video later on and you want to know how to get this food to help you to get out of the depression, I'll put the description in there so you can click on there and know how to make it
Yeah.
or even buy it if you find it.
So actually is something that is many elements together because we are not only body.
Oh yeah,
We are
absolutely,
spirit.
absolutely.
We are
Yeah.
attitude. So when we talk about foods that will help the tyrosine be high so we can have then a
Right.
production of L-dopa that will be synthesized of dopamine, it will help. So have your greens. Teach your children. Sometimes, Klinger, when I go to homes because I'm helping a family or something, and you can see the foods of the kids. The kid decide what they want to eat. No, I want to have my chicken wings with my French fries and something very green color or blue color for a drink, and you see no salads because the kids say, I don't want to have greens, I don't want to have the salads, no nuts, but the candies and the ice creams and these other things. Mothers should be should have in consideration that probably the hyperactivity of the kid is seen in the food that they have, in the type of entertainment they have.
Right.
But all these things wouldn't help them to produce the hormones that quickly kids have and in production so quickly that even an adult. A child can produce dopamine easily than we do as an
Wow.
adults. You see?
Amazing.
So if the kids would have their greens, if they would have avocados, their bananas, fruits, nuts, we will be helping actually to handle the mood of the kids just by talking about this only thing about food in regards to dopamine.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Anything else regarding dopamine that we can do apart from food?
Apart from fruit,
Like in case somebody is lacking, like we were talking about depression, anxiety, if somebody is lacking, we already mentioned food, that they can change their food, their diet, that will help them improve. Anything else?
yes, to actually help the body produce dopamine, that's what we have. But in the other three hormones, remember they work like in a team. You know, like in a soccer team. One do
Right.
one thing, the other one do
Right.
that. But when we talk about lifestyle, there is actually a type of exercise, but I would like to speak about that in the other three.
Okay, good.
The other three neurotransmitters that we have.
All right. So, do you want to move on to,
Serotonin.
yeah, the next one? All right.
The serotonin is called the natural mood booster. When we talk about boosters seems like something that will help you come up. You know, will help you. A booster will help you come up. So the mood booster, it would be a serotonin. low levels of serotonin are highly related with depression.
Mm.
Completely goes in a like the homeostasis, So high depression, low serotonin. High serotonin, low depression. So it's also possible to increase serotonin not with medication, but with lifestyle. And that's what
Mm.
we are here for.
Right. Exactly.
Actually, um, medications that are made for depression are made of serotonin.
Wow.
The only thing is the side effects of other ingredients that this type of medications have, especially side effects on the mood, trying to increase and taking people out of depression. But we're here to speak that it's possible. Harvard University is saying, hey, it's possible to increase your serotonin with lifestyle.
Yeah.
So what are the good news?
Yeah. I know that they call it bubble bath of neurotransmitters when you do physical activity. That I was reading bubble bath, which means like like it really
Yes.
helps a lot.
Yes.
But you're gonna mention that more
Yeah.
later on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what about helping others?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you
Mm-hmm.
sense of sense of joy, if that produces a sense of joy, like um, there is like volunteering. When you volunteer, you forget about yourself, because really there's another doctor, I forget his name, he was talking about something called flow. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you see the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing something that he calls flow, is like when you really concentrated on doing something that has lots of positive effects. And one of them, they were trying to find, what happens when you're in that state. And one thing is like you're not focusing on yourself and your appearance and what people think about you. You just forget about yourself for that moment, and that is really helpful. And we're talking about science here, and we understand that the opposite should be true. If you're selfish, if you're all the time thinking about yourself, that can cause more anxiety,
Yes.
and more sense of uneasiness and fear and even shame, or all that bad stuff that we want to avoid.
What you are talking is when these hormones we have in a good peak, in a good boost, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, people at that state are more willing to be to do an altruistic service. When people are in depression because these hormones are in anxiety are low, people are more self-centered and close and apart from people. That's the way the brain works, and that's why these neurotransmitters have to work to do. So when you're saying about volunteering, when someone volunteers and find the experience joyful, and I did something for someone, not only for myself, and that person smiled, even if I'm helping kids, even if I'm helping animals. I've been helping people with depression that in coaching, they realized that they would like to volunteer. And I remember, especially for the COVID, helping a 19-year-old man who was very, very depressed in his room. And I just mentioned this because you just talk about it. And we talk about how to increase his neurotransmitters through different activities. And giving a coaching tip, he said, volunteering. Yes, even though I don't like people, and now with COVID, I don't, but I would like to volunteer at least taking care of animals because I'm killing myself with depression, being in my room, scared of everybody.
Absolutely.
So he said, okay, let's give it a try. Where do you think you could do that? He said, in my community. He volunteered a rescue animal place. And it's interesting that he did so good at volunteering that they offered him a job. And
Wow.
that job helped him through the crisis that he had in that moment through COVID. And you could tell every time we talk, telling me the experiences, the surgeries, and he was helping and he was taking actually certifications. So voluntarily, it has an amazing, powerful thing that actually helps increase the dopamine again, when the brain sees that you enjoy something, they want more.
Right, right. And there's the other chemical, which is oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
Oxytocin is related to helping others,
Mm-hmm.
hugging,
Yes.
also like this, touch, mother
Mm-hmm.
to child,
Mm-hmm.
and in fact, by that chapter I was reading from Simon Sinek, in
Mm-hmm.
his book on leadership, he mentions that oxytocin can actually prevent addictions.
Mm-hmm.
In a
Mm-hmm.
sense that if you are helping others, you're forgetting
Mm-hmm.
about yourself, and so the dopamine just loses its hold on you that creates that addiction. It goes to a more natural level
Mm-hmm.
when you're not thinking about yourself. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're helping others, you just don't have time to think about yourself. You're thinking
Yes.
about someone else.
Yes. So with
So,
the oxytocin is the love hormone, and this hormone let's talk about 10 years prior to our time, it was believed that it was only produced when the mother had a baby.
mm,
And all the production of the milk that she has, the breast milk, and all this production was made high levels of oxytocin to help her bond with her baby. And also when a person have sexual relationships, that's it, the oxytocin. But today they have discovered, who has discovered everything in the brain? Oh, such an amazing organ that we have. There's still to discover. But they discovered today that oxytocin actually is helps and is increased with natural exercise. The type of
mm,
exercise of jumping, running, even doing aerobic exercise will help you increase
wow.
oxytocin that was believed only mothers had high production to connect with the babies.
Hmm.
No, exercise will help increase the levels of oxytocin. What else is also discovered? Music.
Hmm.
And music has the ability to increase oxytocin levels, especially, and this is so interesting, when people sing in a group, which adds the element of bonding. Oxytocin has a lot. You cannot increase oxytocin living by yourself.
Yeah,
You
that's
need
amazing.
another
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
Even if
it's
you sing in the choir, you smile. The body language you're seeing, the smiles, you need another person to increase oxytocin.
it's fascinating.
It's fascinating.
Wow, yeah.
So singing from the heart in a choir, in a group, doing exercise, and there is another element, and it's hugging.
Mm. Hmm.
Hugging someone,
Yeah.
the touch of skin to skin. Actually, there are many young people that falls into addictions because they are hungry of skin.
Wow.
The addiction will never be completely. We are talking about pornography or these other things because they are in hunger of skin. And when I'm talking about hunger of skin, I'm not talking about sexual relationships alone. I'm
Affection.
talking about affection.
Yeah.
We were made to be touched,
Wow.
but in a in a sacred way. And
Right.
it's interesting because how come we were made to be touched? How we were made? We were made out of the dust.
Oh, yeah.
When we were, every
Created.
part of our
Yeah.
body was touched in an amazing way. And our hands were in touch with his hands, and our body was touched, every part of it. So
Mm.
human people are hunger of touch. What touch? The touch that is sacred, the touch that is respectful, the
Mm-hmm.
touch that is altruistic and heterocentric, and the touch that you can give to an elderly person
Mm-hmm.
from the heart. That's
Mm-hmm.
so much needed. So
Yeah.
kids, kids need to be touched so much. You see a
Oh,
baby
yeah,
just can
yeah.
be at ease if you
And
just touch it.
and imagine
Just
some
touch
of
them.
those. Not long ago, we had a convocation here. We had some presentations, and Joshua White was talking about the research is done in Germany back then to induce mothers not to touch their
Yes,
babies.
absolutely.
And the whole world caught on that
Yeah.
afterwards. And
Yes.
I remember my mom was saying that, oh no, you have to leave the child just crying
Yes.
there so they
Yeah.
can learn. Otherwise, they'll never learn. They'll always want to be hugged and cared. And what damage we have done to generations by following this lack of touch. And it just reminded me another thing, what damage we had during the COVID time when people
Oh,
were
yeah.
saying, do not touch anybody,
Yes.
just keep a distance. And
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not here to say,
Don't take measures
yeah,
on
don't, yeah,
prevention,
exactly,
Mm.
be responsible. But I'm just saying, because I know by things I've seen that the numbers of psychological problems just skyrocketing during
Yes,
after
absolutely.
aftermath,
Mm-hmm.
COVID, the restrictions and the lockdowns and all that. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So, talking again to parents here, um, kids that are jumping all the time, that they are hyperactive, I always tell mothers, touch them more. If you're talking to them, touch them in the back, like doing a massage. Tell them, come here, and in the feet. The more a kid is touched in a healthy, respectful way,
Hmm.
it will give them some soothing effect because these hormones are immediately produced.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Um, I know also by what I read that not only your body produces oxytocin when you perform a kind acts of kindness and goodness, but if you see somebody doing it, it also produces not the same amount, but it does
Mm-hmm.
too. So
It's
being in
contagious.
yeah, it's
It's
contagious.
contagious.
Yeah, if you're in an environment where you see goodness being performed, it does well for you too.
Yes, that's absolutely right. If a person enraged and anger is
Mm,
contagious,
right, I was gonna say exactly that. So the opposite, when you actually see violent movies and things
yeah.
like that, which
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there's something on us that attract us, when we see
Mm-hmm.
those things, but it actually creates the negative
Yeah, because
effect.
cortisol goes up
Goes up,
with
adrenaline and all that.
adrenaline when we see the news, when we see violent movies, or when we see someone in anger, it
Right,
immediately produces a reaction to
right.
you. So
Yeah,
it's not only the chemical neurotransmitters that are produced in your brain, but the attitude that it produces is contagious for good
right,
and for good or for bad,
right.
So yes, that
Yeah,
works
and
that
it's
way.
not like the cortisol and adrenaline are totally bad. They were made
Oh
for
yes,
something.
yes.
They were made to help us in danger or whenever we need them, to give us extra strength or speed or, a fast thinking, to get out of a situation.
Mm.
They were, but it's just like the body releases, but then it has to stop, not like
Mm-hmm.
continuously.
Mm.
Otherwise, you just can be killing
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. The flee, freeze, or flight,
Flight, exactly. Yeah.
and that's made for emergencies. When people have gone through traumatic experiences, abuses, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, in those moments, um, all this cortisol and all these other neurotransmitters are produced for good, to protect. But traumatic experiences, either a person get a frozen, freeze,
Mm.
flight, or
Yes, yes, yes.
it comes for a moment, but then the effect in the mind and the thoughts. It's interesting with this when we're talking about this, Klinger. The mind has something unique. The mind believes anything that we want to believe, but doesn't distinguish between something that is happening or is only in your thoughts. The mind take it like if it would be real. If you're in an
Mm.
earthquake,
Wow.
right? Living in an earthquake. I have to live an earthquake in Colombia when more than 5,000 people was died in the city.
Wow.
And that day we were helping many people. It was kind of traumatic experience, being in an earthquake when you feel, then you see that the roof is moving. You're trying to run, and actually the floor is incredible. You go through that, and in that moment cortisol goes up
Mm.
because you need to run, you need to take
And
people away,
adrenaline.
you can do adrenaline, you can do incredible things that you cannot do in a different state.
Mm-hmm.
But then 3 months after, if we can hear the sound of the sounds,
Similar to what you
similar
experienced,
to the
something that reminds
experience,
you that.
reminds you, or even telling the experience, and you live it again,
Mm.
the the heart start beating, you start sweating, you start getting nervous and anxious, and the body responds to that thought like if you were having the experience, and then cortisol, adrenaline is up again.
Wow.
Just because you thought about it. So a real event or a thought can trigger this. That's why attitude is so important.
Wow.
And we can see this when we talk even for the hormones that help us produce joy, or the hormones that are produced also for a state of alert on emergency.
Right.
The situation is that was made for a period of time, but not for extension of
Exactly.
years.
Exactly. And trauma is a whole nother subject that can take
It's an
like
all sort
a
of
lot of
subject.
time. You know,
Yes.
I have this one book that says the body keeps the score. It's about trauma and all that. It's just really big.
The body remembers.
It exactly just what you said. Now, what other happy hormone we want to talk
Endorphins.
about? Endorphins.
Oh,
Yeah, let's talk about endorphins. Yeah.
The endorphins can also release stress and create a feeling of well-being. So endorphins are really, really good. I don't know, I had a picture of a family on the floor and they are all playing. This is endorphins factory.
Oh, nice. Like laughing, it does
Oh,
that,
yes.
right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Laughing from the heart. I mean, when people can have a nice time together. Actually, laughing, it could be a therapy when it's done again with that nice sense of sharing time, of just laughing about good things.
Right.
It's very, very
Right.
needed. Endorphins are increased when we laugh. Do you see
That's
the
awesome.
tendency of kids? The tendency of kids, well, depending on some kids today,
Right.
but when they want to be happy, they want to be joyful, they want to laugh, they are prompt to make the smallest thing the happiest
They're
things,
easy to
you know?
please.
It's easy to please.
Yeah.
But laugh is one of the things that will help absolutely increase endorphins. Exercise. We talk about
Yeah.
exercise and also in the endorphins, in oxytocin, that it helps. But in exercise is just the amount of evidence that we have that aerobic exercise or only walking under the sun, because this light has to do a lot, it helps you produce endorphins that will make you feel so good. That's why when people said, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm so stressed, or I'm going to do
Right.
exercises
Yeah.
in my room. And when you do it, you feel good.
Yeah, they link endorphins with runners a lot because when you're running, there's people that just you could even say that they get addicted to running because you have this endorphin rush, and what
Yes.
it does to your body too is it relieves pain because then you're running and you go, you know, that extra mile, and you should be having pain because of all that strain in your muscles, but all that endorphins is just um, uh, quietening that pain. It's almost like giving you like a pain medication. And then
Yes.
all of us have felt like when we're doing exercise, we're so good, we're warmed, and we don't feel anything. And then after that, we're just like, oh man, it's hurting, or your legs are so sore. That's because you didn't feel it before because you had a lot of endorphins.
Yes.
Yeah.
So exercise is key. If we can speak about one thing that will help release and increase all these neurotransmitters for well-being state, we can talk about exercise. What kind of exercise? It can be walking. It can be just aerobic exercise. It can be weightlifting. Any type of
Jump rope,
exercise.
it's
Jump
becoming kind of
rope.
popular nowadays.
Yeah, yeah,
I got into jump rope now.
yeah.
It's really nice.
And you know, I'm developing a habit that is becoming so pleasant to me. Tell your kid, let's do exercise. And they will be reminding you every day, are we going to do exercise? I'm doing the exercises with my daughter. And in this cold weather, it's hard to be outside walking. So we have an app and we just have some exercises. So kind of 6:30, she goes like, Mom, are we going to do exercise? We start doing exercise together. The exercise is good, helps me a lot. We sweat. You feel the good sense after doing exercise because you
Oh,
know
yeah.
also that you're doing something good. So the reward
Right. Right.
sense comes here because you did something good.
Absolutely.
But on the other side, doing it with my daughter
Mm.
and the oxytocin and the
Mm-hmm.
way she go, Mom, come on, don't get tired of this is too. No, Mom, let's do it. And at the end, we did something together that is good.
Yes.
You need another person to bond. We are bonding through this.
Yes.
We are bonded. So there are many good things that has to do with that. That is our time. It's our
Yes.
time.
Yes.
The way we talk, the way we do exercise, when we laugh, when we just did that, and after that, oh, okay, let's take a shower, let's go and have something else. But it helps a lot.
Yes, I was about to say the previous episode I mentioned about the book Atomic Habits. It's a
Oh,
great book.
great book.
And one of the things that helps you to adopt a new habit, if it's really difficult, it's finding a partner. Having a partner and that accountability. Sometimes you don't feel like it, or maybe it's difficult, but because you have someone to do with, and
Yeah.
that you're accountable to,
Yes.
you actually it makes you
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
That's helps you with your discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really good. Now, people might be watching and say, yeah, but I don't have a partner. I don't have someone. I'm alone, by myself. We see people like this, especially more elderly people. But then you can still do it. There are ways for you to do it. For example, you can nowadays. I mean, everybody's in social media. I guess. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's not difficult, or you can do it over the phone with somebody, or just what you can do is like record what you do, and for at least for a small group, for the people you relate to, your family members. It doesn't have to be a lot of people, and then start recording like day 1, day 2, day 3. They call it strict, right? Like when you
Mm-hmm.
have day 1, day 2, day 3, what you're doing is you're creating a mechanism for you to keep going, because those also are kind of like a dopamine release, because
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing your progress, and you don't want to break that streak. You don't want to break that segment. You want to be, it feels good,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
lose that. So we might talk more about those mechanisms. By the way, I mean, the book is really good, Atomic Habits. I wish I
Mm-hmm.
could get a commission. I would sell that book like
Yes.
crazy.
This,
It's a
yes.
really good book,
Mm.
and it's about neuroscience. It talks
Mm-hmm.
about how you can actually avoid bad habits and adopt good habits
Mm.
in very practical ways.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's really good. Now, anything else we can say about endorphins,
Endorphins.
or are we going to go to another
Yeah,
one?
yeah, with endorphins. Another thing that help increase the levels of endorsement or the production of endorphins in our body is when we have the time to pray and reflect. When I'm
Mm,
talking about meditation here, it's not the type of meditation that you empty your mind. No, we are
mm,
talking about the meditation that actually I'm reflecting. I having the time to think. I'm stop everything running. I need to pull myself together through prayer, through reflection. But
mm.
we need to speak about here that there are two types of prayer. There is one prayer that increases your cortisol and decreases all these good neurotransmitters, including endorphins. The type of prayer that increases the cortisol is the type of prayer when you come with a burden,
Mm-hmm.
reinforces the burden, victimize yourself,
Mm.
and when you finish praying, you take the burden again with you and you say amen, and still the problem is there
Oh,
killing
wow.
you. So every time you pray in this attitude increases the cortisol
Hmm.
because you are living the experience again. And remember, if you just remember everything by a thought, the thought can produce all this in your body. So let's talk about the other type of prayer with endorphins. I said endorphins
Well, yeah,
are
'cause Spanish is
yeah.
it's almost the same,
Yeah.
but you just have the.
Are increased. For a prayer or a reflection or meditation that takes place for endorphins to be increased, there has to be two things. One, you have to empty yourself, and second, there has to be gratitude.
Wow.
When you experience actually leaving a burden to God and then to be grateful and you finish saying, thank you so much, because I believe you could hear my prayer. I'm not talking by myself. And then gratitude would come. That type of prayer, when there is emptiness of the thing that you bring, you have the capacity to let it go, in the sense of, I'm not taking it anymore, and there is this gratefulness sense. Then endorphins. That's the type of meditation and reflection and prayer that helps increase the levels of endorphins or endorphins.
Awesome. Wow, that's amazing. I want to tell you that at the end, I'm going to give you a link where you can go and on this article, there's some links. You can click, you can go and read a little bit of this article online. It's from Harvard University. And there's some links on the to-do list that you can do to improve the neurotransmitters and the happy hormones, we can call it, that you can do some things, practice some things. So it's something we're going to give you at the end. I'm going to
That's good.
let you the link. So yeah, stay tuned.
I don't know how much time we have.
Well, yeah, we can have a little bit, but we have to get to the serotonin, right?
Serotonin. And here I would like to say something in regards to that. Sunlight or ultraviolet light. People today can be spending so many hours under this type of lights and don't have really contact with sunlight or ultraviolet light. And it's so important for endorphins, even serotonin, be produced. So some people have these lights on their desk that can be exposed at least 40 minutes to 50 minutes in the day, so these hormones can be produced as well. But if you don't have these lights, be in the sunshine, exposed at least 35 minutes a day.
Awesome.
Oh, can make the difference. That's why walking outside, taking the time, 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If you do it with somebody of your family, then the oxytocin power comes in. But be outside in the sun. We were created to be exposed to air. The air flows and touches your skin, the sunshine, the water. I mean, we were created to exercise, to be in nature. So as much as we can, if there is possible, it's possible for you to find an ultraviolet lamp. Do it. At least 35 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes the most. If not, being outside. Every time you see the sun, and if you are in your work and you can go outside, get 5 minutes and come in again. You don't imagine the effect. That going out, letting the wind, letting the sun touch your skin and be exposed to that, change your mood.
Yes, studies have shown that places that have very drastic or extreme climates. So when it's the winter, when they have really little time of sunlight, it increases the amount of depression, in fact, sadness. And there has something to do with also vitamin D production, because if you don't have the sunlight, all the cholesterol that you have there will actually help to produce the vitamin D, and then people have to take supplements and things like that. So sunlight is very
So
important for that.
Yeah.
Now, okay, we're about to wrap this up, but before, I want to
Yes.
say something about health and joy. Did you know that your immune system can be really strengthened when you have a joyful attitude, when you're happy? Well, happiness actually will give short-term effects, like we've said before. Happiness is like the moment, but the sense of joy and peace can actually provide long-lasting health benefits. And the immune cells themselves, they have what they call receptors for neurotransmitters. So it's almost like God designed them, and they're ready for that, to receive those neurotransmitters so they can actually be strengthened.
Yes.
And now, if we never knew this, let's say we lived way like hundreds of years ago or thousands of years ago, that we did not know this, we could still benefit from that because we had the Bible. Because the Bible and Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, already told us that a joyful heart is like medicine. Like if you're joyful, you're gonna have a stronger immune system, which means you're gonna fight infections. You're gonna fight foreign elements in your body or disease itself, because So now I'm gonna give you the list. I'm gonna give you the link at the end of the description. It is a what's it called? It is an article entitled "How Can You Find Joy or at least Peace During Difficult Times?" I'm sure you're going to enjoy that. We cover quite a bit, but you're going to enjoy the links within the article. There's some extra things here in the link, and let me cover some of the things it says here as a summarize, so we can wrap up tonight's talk, and then we'll say a few things more. So number one, we mentioned about exercise,
Physical activity.
which it's like it helps to improve almost all of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
physical activity.
Yeah, so I call a bubble bath of neurotransmitters. So it's really
How long? People might be saying, I don't have the time, for physical activity. And if that helps me with my joy, but you don't know my schedule. We are talking about the least 20 to 25 minutes. And out of the 7 days of the week, at least 5 days.
right.
For 20, 25 minutes, it will make an impact.
Yes, and here's a tip from the book about habits. If you can't do it, if you really can't do it, and you're struggling, and you put yourself the goal of 25 minutes, and you can't make it, and you didn't make it, and we can get discouraged by not hitting the goals, and we feel like, I can't do it. There is a 2-minute rule that you can apply. It's like start doing 2 minutes.
Yes.
Well, it's better
Yes.
than nothing, but
Baby
then
steps.
yeah, just start with 2 minutes, then increase to 5, and then hopefully you enjoy it so much that you can start to get to the optimum time. So
Yes.
yeah, do that, and you see that it works. 2 minutes, you cannot tell yourself you don't have 2 minutes.
Yes.
You start with that. So yeah, even if it's just to put the clothes on and start going there to exercise, I mean, you're gonna do more than 2 minutes. You already
Yes.
did the hardest thing, which is
Because the dopamine will tell you, if they record the experience and said you need more,
it
and
feels
you
good.
feel good, and it said it
Yes.
feels good, you go for that. You go for
Yes,
more.
absolutely. Okay, number two, we talked about dedicating time for others, volunteer work. It creates joy, and it's long-lasting results as well, and that sense of that you're worth it, and that you're being useful, and sense of meaning, all that, it's really good.
And if someone says, because I'm working with young people, that sometimes they said, I don't like people. So how come I'm going to have joy if I don't like people? But the principle here works with every human being, regardless of the age, of the culture, of the ethnicity. Helping a person is a reward that will help in this case. So I asked people who have struggled with, it can be helping. It's actually the spirit, the attitude of helping. Then help someone from your family if you don't like to relate with others. Even helping animals. Even helping the person that you like. Do something that you don't expect to receive anything in return.
Excellent.
That's the key point.
Excellent. Next, we talked about connecting with our spiritual side. So
Yeah.
we talked about prayer
Yeah.
and type of meditation and feelings of gratitude. That
Yes.
has to be connected there. It's not
Yeah.
just to seek help, spiritual help. It's
Yeah.
actually to give it back and be thankful there's so much to be thankful for,
Yes.
even when you don't see.
Yeah.
And the link here will give you a exercise that you can practice that. They call it 3 good things. It's like something that you can practice. It says it requires 10 minutes a day. So
Yes.
so that's I'm sure you're gonna enjoy that. What else?
Try to find something new to do every day.
Oh, I saw here.
Yes.
Exactly. We like new things.
New things.
So yeah.
It's kind of go out of the routine. Find to do something new to do, and do it with your heart and your mind. The attitude of being joyful is not part of the performance identity when I have something else in my list and I get stressed because now I know I have to do exercise, helping someone. It's not going to work. It's something you give yourself permission to be delighted in and to enjoy. The
Right.
attitude has to be there present.
Then there's another thing that talks about negativity. Like when you're surrounded by people who are negative or complainers, this environment, you have to avoid that. You have to try to avoid. You have to be sensitive. You might be that person
Yeah.
that you have to
Yeah.
be honest with yourself. Maybe maybe I am that person that is negative and that is bringing this toxic environment,
Yeah.
and then you have a chance to work on yourself.
And sometimes hearing
Oh yeah,
news
that's
all the
right.
time.
Yeah,
Or
bad news is
seeing things that are negative all the time. Yeah, there happened now an earthquake in Syria. That's good that you see the news, but you see it every day, in the morning, in the afternoon, the scenes. And you finish crying, you
I
finish,
know.
and it's not to be empathetic.
Right.
It's not that, but it's preventing my mind of being exposed to
Exactly.
negativity
Right.
constantly.
And unless you're gonna get in the plane and go there to help them, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you're just gonna be just accumulating that negativity for
Yeah.
yourself, and you're not gonna do anything about it. Just
Yeah.
talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And last but not least, here on my list is trying to find, or it takes some effort, but find meaning.
Yeah.
Things that you can do that will give you meaning, and focus on that, but not money. He says we can focus on money because we think, oh, that's meaningful. No, that's it's not the end. That might be important, and it is important, but try to focus on things and efforts that will bring meaning to your life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Find purpose and meaning. And as they said in Japan, the ikigai, that is when I have something why to wake up in the morning, to make me jump from the bed saying, let's go for it. That actually one element for longevity.
that's
And
right.
longevity, we need to speak about longevity any moment and speak about the blue zones and everything. But all those habits of longevity includes that one that you're speaking of, because all of them have to do with increasing the four hormones for well-being and happiness.
Yeah, by the way, last episode we actually showed a short video that they were talking about the studies that they did, and that Seventh-day Adventists live about a decade more than average people, and it had to do with rest. He connected with the Sabbath, but it's more than that. Yeah, so it's eating, it's the sense of community, it's meaningful life. There is a lot of exercise in it, and here's what I want to say to you, that it's really nice to present scientific evidence, and it's awesome. I really like it. I enjoy it. And we should do that. But even if we didn't have those, we don't have everything. We can't prove everything. But the Bible is full of wise counsel on how to live better, how to live healthier, how to live more. It says that God, if you keep those commandments and those statutes, God will increase your days in your life. But it's not just because it's an act of magic. It's because there's something in those practices that will increase your life. And it's not just life itself, but it's quality of life.
Yeah.
So we want that, and I'm sure you want that. Well, anything that we can say to wrap this up? And before, let me just invite you once again. The month is about to be over. March is right around the corner, and we are starting some new sessions here at the Heartland Wellness Center, which is the cancer care, also health and lifestyle programs, and the new Smart Health program, which is a 5-day. We're having some people coming for that. We'd like to invite you to know more about it. I'll put the link over there, the phone number if you want. It's, let's see if I remember. No, I do. 472 54, no, wait a minute. It starts with 540-472-5101.
Great, you did it.
I did. But I'll put the link there in case just,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll put the link, and most of you are going to watch the recordings anyway, so that's fine. So yeah, check the website, Cancer Care. Call us, give us a call to find out how you can improve your health, your quality of life, how you can actually learn more skills, health, lifestyle skills, so you can help your neighbors, so you can be more valuable in your community. Sometimes you're just living your life and you go about, and you say, well, I'm a vegetarian, I live healthy, I do exercise, but sometimes you're lacking things in your life. Maybe you're lacking meaning, maybe lacking helping other people, and maybe you don't know how to. And let me tell you, the medical missionary skills are the best thing you can have. Because then you can help your neighbors. They'll be really thankful for it, and you made it. You can really make friends with that, and boom, their hearts will be open for the gospel. So, anything else? So I'd like to thank you for coming, for having this great topic
Thank you
about
for
health.
inviting me.
Yeah. By the way, if you have any questions and you want to write them on this video on the YouTube, you can ask the questions. By the way, if you come this far on the podcast, just hit the like button there and share this with other people, because it's important. It's, people say, why do they ask for like? Well, like equals support. Or, if you like, you're supporting, and that really helps with algorithms. And share with people that you think are going to benefit from it. Well, thank you so much. I think our time is up, and I hope to see you next episode for some great subjects on health, and not only physical, but also mental and spiritual. Have a good evening.